the 2023 Clemson Tigers look like on Monday night at Duke? Will they start 1-0? And who are the players to watch? We're going to get you ready for the big game on Labor Day night between the Duke Blue Devils and the Clemson Tigers from Durham, North Carolina, Wallace Wade Stadium, right here today on the first All Clemson Tigers preview show live from Magnetic South Brewery in downtown Anderson. Cold beer, great food, great atmosphere. Bring the kids, plenty of games. We're going to be here for the next hour breaking down everything about this game here on Friday, September the 1st, 2023. I'm Brad Sinkoff, joined here by publisher of AllClemsonTigers.com, Zach Lentz, and, of course, recruiting director Jason Priester, also on with us today as we get you ready for tonight's game. Jason's going to be covering some high school football later, but kind enough to give us some of his time here on this Friday afternoon. Gentlemen, we made it. We did it.
Yeah.
The long off season is over.
Yeah.
It's game week.
Yes, it is. This is, what we have all, waited for, and it is finally here. There is no more talking about it. It is time to do it.
This will be the last time you hear from us before the ball is kicked off. Well, not technically. I'll be on the Sunday Reset show coming up on Sunday. But after that, this is really the last time that the three of us will be together before the Clemson Tigers kick off. So we want you to get in on the show. This is also about you. Come down here to Magnetic South. Hang out with us in downtown Anderson. We're going to be here each and every Clemson home game, except I know this one's away, but the rest of the home games this season are going to be right here in Magnetic South. We want you to be a part of it. It's going to be a lot of fun as we go throughout the show today.
I have heard, they have great beer here. So
You've heard.
Yeah.
Heard. Okay.
Yeah. I have yet to taste.
No sampling as of yet. We got a show to get through, Zach, so sit tight on that. Jason, meanwhile, back there at home getting ready for high school football tonight. We're very excited to be here with you. We want to have a chance to break down this game in detail. But, gentlemen, first, before we do that, we have to get to the latest and breaking news that came out of the ACC today. I promise you we're going to talk Duke Clemson, but we got to start with this. Cal, Stanford, SMU all voted into the ACC earlier this morning as the presidents of the universities in the ACC, including Notre Dame. Yes, 15 votes. 12 said yes, and that's all they needed. North Carolina, Florida State, and Clemson were the nays on the vote to add those three teams and expand in the ACC. Regardless, it's happened. It's underway. What is your thoughts, Jason? I want to bring you in on the show now about ACC expansion and whether or not we need to care, we need to pay attention to it. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you need to care because I think we all believe Clemson's out of the league sooner rather than later. To me, this kind of reeks of desperation and is a move to maybe try and strengthen yourself once you have some of those defections that we all believe are on the horizon. I kind of read today that if they dip below the 15-team number, ESPN can renegotiate the contract. And to me, this kind of keeps them above that 15 number for when some teams start leaving.
Yeah. Cal, Stanford, SMU, who cares? Really, when is the last time any of those teams have, been relevant in football since, the Cal, Stanford,
The band is on the field?
Yeah.
The band is on the field. That's how far back we're going to go. Look, part of it's humorous to me because John Elway is now officially an ACC legend. I promise you, he is going to be honored at an ACC championship game in Charlotte, North Carolina at some point in the next couple of years. You wait and see. John Elway, ACC legend. Aaron Rodgers, ACC legend. Marshawn Lynch, now ACC legend. How about Eric Dickerson?
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, we got that from SMU now. So this is – look, I had a Clemson fan ask me a question earlier today. They said, do I need to be mad about this? My response was, no. You don't have to be upset about this because you're not going to be in the league long enough to care. Clemson will leave the ACC, like Jason was saying. So will Florida State, and I think North Carolina's out the door as well.
Yeah.
I think the naysayer, the one who voted this thing down, those three schools, North Carolina has been the most open about saying no, thank you. We want nothing to do with expansion, and they have drawn a line in the sand. It's divided the ACC, and I think all three of those teams are out the door.
Well, it's not only divided the ACC, it has divided the state of North Carolina. I mean,
That's a great point. Yeah.
UNC State and UNC are in lockstep until things change, and now they are no longer in step. They have drawn the line in the sand, and I honestly can't wait to see 15,000 Clemson rednecks head over to the streets of Berkeley, California.
California love.
That to me is the funniest thing. I think we are all in agreement. Clemson, FSU, UNC, they are all out the door. I think this actually expedites the process.
I don't know that it expedites it because I think this move was made because everybody in the league knows those three teams are leaving. It's just a matter. So it's a matter of when.
Stop shaking your head, Jason. No one here can see you. No one gives a rat's ass, that you agree. So you can sit there and smirk all you want. Guess what? No one here at this great restaurant can see you.
Well, I'll say it then. I think that move. I think the move was already being expedited, so I don't know how much more expedited it could be. I think we hear something within the next year at the most. I think it's coming. I think it's coming soon.
At the most, I can tell you from what I know from this situation, what I've looked into, I don't think this sets up an exit from the grant of rights. I don't even know if it affects it to that degree. I think Clemson, Florida State have already done their due diligence and figured out how they can work around that. So just sit tight on all of that, folks. I promise you're going to get more information down the road. Now is not when it happens, but it will come at some point. Stay tuned. All right, let's bury the expansion talk. Let's get into some conversations. Yes, thank you. I agree. Let's talk about football, guys. It's been a long time since we can talk about a football game here on the All Clemson Tigers Show, live edition here at Magnetic South in downtown Anderson. We want you to be a part of it. Get in with your questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, on our All Clemson channel, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, please get in with your questions. We'd love to have you join us tonight. If you're here in the audience and you have a question, we got a microphone you can ask us so you can all be a part of it. We got some free swag to give away. You see all this right down here? This can go home with you tonight if you're here at the Magnetic South in downtown Anderson. Now, I want to ask you this, Jason. Let's bring you in on this one. What is the biggest unknown to you going into this Clemson-Duke game on Monday night? What's the one thing that you just like you have no idea how it's going to play out?
For me, it's the wide receivers. I think we're all expecting a new and improved offense. So I'm going to get a little more specific and say I want to see how these wide receivers perform. We've heard them being raved about throughout fall camp, but the production has fallen off the past 2 years. So until I see it, it's kind of hard to wrap my head around it. I'm ready to see what those guys can do, guys like Tyler Brown, who we've heard a lot about the past few weeks, Bo Collins, Adam Randall, now that those guys are fully healthy. And in this offense, I want to see the receivers play up to the level, or at least up near that level that Clemson fans were accustomed to seeing receivers play to during those playoff years. Take pride in that blocking out on the perimeter. those are the kind of things I'm looking for. That's one of the biggest things I'm looking for Monday night.
8 p.m., Wallace Wade Stadium. AllClemsonTigers.com has you covered throughout the day. Zach, what's the one thing you need to see out of this Clemson team on Monday night? There's a lot of questions about this team, and you're not going to answer every single one of them. But what's one that you feel like you can get a clear answer to when the Tigers kick off?
I think, for me, I want to see fire. I want to see the passion, the enthusiasm, the hunger that has, really is missing. So for me, I think that, I really would love to see Clemson come out and step on someone's throat, come out with a fire in their belly that says, we are the better team. We are going to serve our dominance. And Duke, you're just a stepping stone on our way to 15-0.
I don't know if that's going to happen. It's week one. We've already seen some weirdness in the Thursday night games. We'll get to some of that. We'll see how together Clemson is when they take the field. Now, what I want to see, though, I want to see control. I don't know about dominance. I don't know if that's the word I would use. Violence. I would not use violence, okay? I'm going to stay away from that word. I would use control. I don't think it matters what the scoreboard necessarily says at the end of the day. As long as Clemson has the win, they're fine. I think it's about controlling the game and feeling like that Duke never had a real chance in the game. And that might be hard to do in week one, but I think coming out of it, the biggest question I have is, do we go out there going, okay, yeah, Clemson's fine? Or do we look at it as, oh boy, there's some real issues. There's some real problems. We'll see. Control is a big one. That's the key word for me. Jason, you've heard what the coaches said all week. You've heard what the players have said. What's the vibe around this team? What is your sense of togetherness, preparation, being ready, all that stuff? Do you feel good about where the Tigers are from what you've heard this week?
Yeah, I do. Having been up there a little bit, there is a renewed sense of energy in the program that has not been around the past couple of years, a new level of confidence. Hearing these guys talk about winning national titles, that's kind of refreshing to me. I think that kind of stuff's going to translate onto the field. And, while I think this game's going to be competitive, I'm starting to think it's going to be a Clemson might win a little bit by more of a wider margin than I originally thought, man. I really feel good about where this team is now, and listening to them talk, they feel good about themselves going in.
Okay, that's very interesting. I do think that there is a pretty good vibe about this team, Zach, from what you've heard. Like Kate Klubnik, he's not worried about all the little things and the details necessarily. I'm not saying he hasn't focused on those, but his mindset is not, oh my gosh, things could go wrong. His mindset is, I'm just going to go play ball. I think the whole team needs that mentality. Quit thinking so much and react and just be in the moment and enjoy it. I feel like this team is at that point right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Gone are the days of DJU, and the, playing scare and constantly, worrying about the next turnover, and oh my God, that's gone.
Yep.
Kate Klubnik, has a gunslinger mentality. Gary Riley has mentioned it numerous times that sometimes he actually has to kind of calm him down. I think that's good, though. I think that, that kind of gunslinger, I don't care,
Yeah, he is the complete opposite of what was. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on DJ. He's gone. He's at Oregon State. Wish him all the best. But Cade Clement's emotional level and his, urgency level, I think is going to be seen very, very evident in this game on Monday night. Last thing before we move on to another segment here, Wallace Wade Stadium, it's not the greatest environment in the world. I have a good friend, Connor O'Neill, who covers Duke. He's the publisher at Devils Illustrated. And I talked to him about earlier this summer about, what are they trying to do? Can Mike Elko get people there? It's not the Cameron Crazies, okay? It's not, basketball season. How does he get people in the stands? And he told me, Elko struggles with that, and he's really tried to play this game up and make it a big deal. Duke doesn't get Monday, Labor Day night games very often on national television. That's not who they've been. They are coming off of 9 wins. It's a great opportunity for that program. I'm curious to see how much the crowd affects this game, or is it just another Clemson home game on the road, which I've seen to places like Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. Is that what it's going to be? Jason, what do you think? What are you expecting on Monday night?
Yeah, it's been over 20 years since I've been to Duke. Last time I was there, it was a home game for Clemson on the road. I am curious to see if the Duke fans show up. That was a very successful season they had under Mike Elko in his first year there, 9 wins, very competitive in all the losses. There's a lot to build on there. If they are ever going to be excited for what's happening in their football program, now would be the time. So I'm very anxious to see what kind of crowd shows up Monday night.
Yeah, now to be fair, Jason, not a lot of people have been to Durham because the Tigers haven't even played there since 2012. It's been over 10 years. They last played Duke in 2018. They've really only met 4 times since their 2005 meeting, 2007, 8, 12, and 18. So these two teams have been in the league together since the 1950s, and they played 4 times. I mean, that is ridiculous since 2005. 4 times. So, yeah, there's not a lot of people who have a lot to say about Wallace Wade Stadium because we're all getting older, and our memories slip if we've been there. All right, before we get continuing on, make sure you go to allclemsontigers.com. Going to be on the scene on Monday night. We'll have live coverage for you, plenty of stories, Dabo Swinney coverage after the game stories, all of that. So make sure you are tuned in and check out allclemsontigers.com on Monday night. We're going to have a ton of stories, a ton of content for you on the website. All right, gentlemen, let's move on and get ourselves talking about what the coaches had to say. Let's talk jibber jabber about jibber jabber. In fact, we'll start with that here and pull up Dabo Swinney and what he had to say about a certain position group earlier this week.
Oh yeah, position or across the line. Yeah, well, we've got some position flexibility within our line, but both those guys will certainly play. Both have earned it. I think we have 7 starters in the offensive line, but I think they're going to only let us run 5 out there. If we could run 7 out, we would. But we really see Colin and Mitchell Mays as starters. I mean, that's just how we see it. And, I look at Maffa and Shipley as starters. We could run 2 of them out there together, but, that means we got one of those receivers are out, right? Or tight ends out, whatever the personnel is. So, we have, for the first time in a few years, we've got really good depth. But I see those 7 guys as starters, and again, I think we got 8, 9, 10 that should play, can play, and will play. And then the competition goes from there. We've kind of taken things as far as we can go in practice. Now you got to go to the games, and the competition continues, and you let guys continue to compete and play, and hopefully they both play well and you keep rolling. But we've got some really good. I think we got 6 tackles on this group, on this team that can play winning football for us. 6 legit tackles that give us the ability to play at a high level, and so I'm excited about the group. But it'll start there with Tristan and Colin, and they'll definitely both play. And hopefully, my expectations they're both going to play really well. That's what I've seen in practice. That's why they're listed the way they are.
I don't think I've heard Dabo Swinney talk up his offensive line quite like this since maybe 18, 19. you have to go that far back, maybe a little bit in 22, or 20, not 22, but 20 as well. I just don't think it's been a while since I've heard him kind of go on, but he really feels confident about this group, and he thinks they're going to be the kind of offensive line that I think can carry the team a bit more. He said this group's a little too maligned. They're a little too talked about in a negative sense, and he just doesn't feel they're going to be like that this year.
Let me ask you this. Is this the coach seat? Or
No, I don't think so. I think he actually believes this about his offensive line. Because
I think he's believed it before.
Yeah, but this group is deep. It's the deepest group he's had in a long time. And I think he's not just saying words to say when he's got 7 guys he feels like could start. That's what you want. That's what this program has sort of been building to. And I think Thomas Austin deserves a little more credit than maybe what he's been given. We'll see if all that gets thrown out the window when the Tigers take the field on Monday night and they can't block Dwayne Carter and that Duke defensive front. We'll get to that coming up. Jason, let's go to this video here. I want you to explain to us why this one stands out to you.
Yeah, I think just the confidence and command in the room, defensively, walking in every day, meeting room-wise, and just having the belief and trust in the players. Just from a knowledge standpoint of how everything flows, recruiting, game plan preparation, practice preparation, all of those really feel comfortable from where we're at on my side of the ball. So excited to see what year 2 holds.
What's the part people don't?
Yeah, I kind of thought Wes came out swinging a little bit the other day. I guess maybe he's
as much as Wes Goodwin does swing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of heard some of the comparisons to Venables and how he's so different. I like the fact that he talked about he's just going to be him. He's going to be himself, and he's got control of that room and the respect of that room. I think that defense is going to be much improved this year, and it was not like it was terrible last year or anything, although I do think they took a step back. I think we're going to see a much better product now that he's had a season to kind of settle into that role and had an off season to kind of evaluate where he needs to improve some.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I think Goodwin's going to have a much better year. I've said that many times already, and I still stand by it. Zach, let's hear from offensive coordinator Garrett Riley going into his very first game calling plays for the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, he's fearless. He's fast, he's savvy. He's all the things you want with kind of his size and the position he plays. But I think, what sets him apart is he's a fearless player, and he's not afraid of contact and things like that, which is impressive, for his size, number one, but number two, just as a true freshman.
Is offensive coordinator on Tyler Brown. That's the offensive coordinator talking about the freshman receiver. Zach, why did that stand out to you?
Yeah. Jason has sat here and they got him all summer. And to see a true freshman crack the 2D, I think says a lot about the belief that this offensive staff has in him. I think the fact that he is, it's not just Garrett Riley either.
Yeah.
Dow has said he is fearless. He said that he's shifty. He has said that he is, has unreal speed. And I think that is something that has been missing, especially at the slot receiver spot. I think that if Tyler Brown is as good as advertised, this team is going to have a special year because they will finally have a receiving core that is not just relying on Troy Stellato staying healthy or Antonio Williams or Will Collins. I mean, you can't, have a true freshman in this spot, garnering this much love and this much attention. I think it speaks volumes to the belief in him and also, the excitement surrounding him.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into the Clemson offense versus the Clemson defense, I want to remind you, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment. It really helps us, and it helps you keep up with everything going on with Clemson here at the All Clemson channel on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, go over to YouTube and subscribe to us. We really appreciate you doing that today. All right, gentlemen, let's break down what's going on with this Clemson offense. Jason, I'm going to start with you. I think Duke's game plan is going to be to stop the run, to leave their safeties back a little bit, and really force Clemson to try to beat them down the field passing, or at least try to settle for some of the underneath stuff and not give up the big play, and then not let Will Shipley and Phil Moffitt get going. If that is the case, do you have confidence in Antonio Williams, Jake Brenningstool, maybe the running backs out of the backfield, to be able to create and get in space and win some one-on-ones and make some plays within this offense, if that's the direction that Elko takes for Duke?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of think that's the direction he takes too. And I do think Clemson's got some playmakers in this offense that can do that and make plays in space. I again, like I talked about earlier, I'm kind of curious to see some of the blocking on the perimeter. It's not been the greatest the past couple of years, but I think Clemson has the talent on that offense and some playmakers, dynamic playmakers at that are capable of making those kind of plays if they can get the blocking in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see Clemson's O-line can really push Duke around a little bit. Dwayne Carter is one of the best defensive tackles, not only in the ACC, but I think one of the better ones in the country. Can they move him around? Can they create and allow some holes for Shipley and Moffa? Because I think this offensive line's got something to prove in terms of that dirt raid conversation that everybody keeps having. Even if it's a stacked box, even if Elko is daring you to just throw the ball, sometimes you got to run it anyway. Sometimes you got to go into a stacked box. Can that offensive line push guys around and create some holes for those running backs? They're very talented. If they can get free, they can get some yards. I just don't know if I'm ready to say for sure that's going to happen, but it is a huge question on my mind. Can this offensive line get some push? Zach, will fans finally see Clemson attack the middle of the field with Brenningstool? You talked about Tyler Brown, Antonio Williams. Can that element to the offense be there in week one against Duke?
I think so. And, and not just attack the middle of the field. I think that Tiger fans, are looking for Clemson to get back to, dictate the game.
Yeah.
And,
not taking what the defense gives you, per se. Yeah.
Yeah. Under Tony Elliott, Streeter, that is what we heard all the time. It was, this is what they gave us. We had to take this because it was given to us. No, your offense, you dictate what the defense does. If that's the middle of the field, fine. If it's the screen, fine. If it's running the ball down their throat, fine. But I think the fans that I have spoken to want to see us get back to dictating to the defense what is happening.
We'll see if that's the case on Monday. Cade Klubnik, Jason, what's your expectation for the young quarterback just making really his second career start? I know he came in early in the North Carolina game, but this is technically the second one. What do you expect out of him on
400 yards.
I I don't want to say I have too high of expectations, but I have fairly high expectations. I expect him to come in and play well, not turn the ball over, make good decisions with the football within the system, and kind of be the leader on that side of the ball at that position that Clemson's lacked in the past couple of seasons. I think he's kind of like just this little ball of energy, and I think that's kind of infectious, and I think it rubs off on the entire offense. But I expect a performance, kind of being aggressive, making good decisions, not doing things to cost your team to win.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit. I do expect him to turn the ball over. I don't know that in week one he's going to play a perfectly clean game. If he does, Clemson might end up rolling in this one, and we'll get to more of that coming up in a moment. Let's move over to the Clemson defense, where the Tigers, maybe the stronger side of the ball right now, the most knowns, I guess, maybe on that side of the ball right now. There's, guys, I don't even know how many potential NFL players on this Clemson defense, but this Duke offense led by Riley Leonard, a phenomenal quarterback who kind of just came out of nowhere last year. Nearly 3,000 passing yards, nearly 700 rushing yards, had 13 touchdowns on the ground alone. He is a true dual threat at 6'4", 215 pounds. This is not a light guy. This is a guy who creates. He's big, he's strong, he's got an arm, and he's got a lot of moxie to him.
So he's like you.
No, I am not 6'4", 215. I wish I could move like him. But this guy can get out of the pocket. He's going to be a handful for the Tigers. I don't know if I trust all the position players on this Duke offense, but I know Riley Leonard can make plays. It's going to be very, very imperative Clemson can get some pressure. Zach, do you think with that front four, Clemson will get enough pressure, or are they going to need to bring some extra linebackers? Can they just sort of let that front four go to work?
I think so. In fact, Jason and I discussed this yesterday, and I said that I anticipate, the defense getting the pressure of that front four, and then that will allow, us to, get exotic, similar to what you saw Venables do. He had the likes of Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Austin, Ryan, Cleveland, Farrell. He could trust those guys to get to the QB, and that allowed him to, bring corner blitzes and linebackers and really just get excited. So I think that to answer your question, yes, they will. And I think this is where good will shine.
I really want to see what Jeremiah Trotter does, what Barrett Carter does. I mean, those are superstar guys that you don't get a chance to watch every single year. I think those two linebackers are two of the best players in all of college football, and it's a pleasure to watch them play. Can't wait to see them. I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is going to be 100% in this game, or at least as close as you can get to that. He had a hamstring injury that he suffered during fall camp. He talked about it yesterday or on Wednesday, that he feels like he's good to go. He's ready to go. The training staff's done a lot of work on him, and I think he's going to be a huge part of what Zach's talking about, but also keeping Riley Leonard in that pocket. I think that's going to be a huge key, Jason. I think it's huge to keep Riley Leonard inside of in that pocket and not making the plays and not roaming around and not creating because defenses break down in a hurry when the dual threat quarterback starts doing that. Let me ask you this, Jason. Is this game a good test for the secondary of Clemson? Now, these Duke receivers aren't big. They're not 6'2", 6'3". They're not the kind of receivers necessarily going to face against Florida State in a few weeks. But is this a good enough test for the Tigers with these shifty small receivers in the way they want to handle taking on the Tigers?
Yeah, I think it is a good test for a season opener. Everybody that caught a pass for Duke last year or registered at least one reception is back. They got a bunch of guys back on that team this year on that offensive side of the ball. And that's an area that Clemson needs to be better in this year. But I do think it's going to be a good test for guys like Sheridan Jones, Nate Wiggins, Toriano Pride, Jaden Lucas, to kind of see exactly where they are. And maybe if there are some things they need to improve over the next couple of weeks after the Duke game before Florida State runs into town.
Are you worried about the eye candy? I love that phrase, by the way. The Duke's setting up everybody going one direction and somebody comes back the next. How disciplined do the Tigers need to be in this game?
Yeah, you need to play discipline against this Duke offense for that very reason. You can't get caught peeking in the backfield, that's for sure.
Yep.
It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on.
All right, let's go round table here.
Hang on. I think Clemson eats candy like trash.
Oh my goodness! All right, we're not reliving that statement.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a little round table here. I'll ask each of you, and we'll each share. Who is the player that flashes in this game on the defensive side of the ball and creates some buzz coming out of week one? Jason, who you got?
TJ Parker.
Man.
I've been singing his praises all camp long. I think he is going to end up being one of Clemson's best pass rushers before the season's out, and I think it starts Monday night. I think he's ready to roll, man. I think he's going to be really good.
All right, Zach, do you have a young playmaker who's going to flash we haven't seen yet? Who you got?
Not necessarily a young guy, but I am going to Justin Vasquez.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's a guy that has, waited his time. He has had opportunities to leave and go, somewhere else and play immediately. However, he has, waited. He has done things the right way. I think he shows out in a huge way against Duke later tonight.
All right, I appreciate you guys taking who you picked because that means I get Peter Woods. Guys, we're going to be talking about Peter Woods every single week. Oh, come on. This guy's right there with Tyler Davis, who started for like 5 years. He's right there with Ruka Ororo, who's going to be in the NFL this time next year. He is right there with those guys, and he is going to absolutely show out in this game and in this season. Peter Woods is going to be on the field. Jason, I think he's out there before the first drive is over. I think they're going to put him in situations on known passing downs. I think they sub Davis out and put Peter Woods in and say, just go get the quarterback, young man. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I think we're going to see him very early. That guy's too talented to keep off the field. It also allows you to keep those defensive tackles, as fresh as possible and kind of divvy those snaps up between those guys. But he is so talented. His ceiling is so high. It would not shock me at all to see him on the field in that opening series.
Yeah. See, all you guys do is take the easy. Yeah.
Oh, yours is bold. I'm not going to lie. All right, before we move on to some other games besides just Duke and Clemson, real quick thoughts on the special teams. Jason, I'll start with you. Pick one. Which area do you feel like needs to show up big on Monday night?
I'm going to go with the punting. I still think we all got a little bit of questions about what we're going to get there. It seems like Aiden Swanson's not been able to really lock that job down away from Jack Smith. He was kind of up and down a year ago. We'll see if he can be a little bit more consistent this year.
Yeah, I like that. Zach, special teams, what are you keeping an eye on?
All of the above.
All of it.
Field goals, kickoffs, punting. There is not one time that Clemson is going to snap the a special team situation that I am going to feel at ease.
Yeah, I want to see what Tyler Brown does in the kick return game. I think he gets an opportunity or two in this one. I think they want to save Will Shipley a little bit, especially early in the season. You don't want to overwork him. Give the freshman a chance. I think you see Brown on some kick returns. boy, Robert Gunn's going to be under the gun at some point in this game. We all know that, and everybody's anxious to see what that looks like. I want to let you know that we have a great team here at All Clemson Tigers, and you can be a part of it too. If you are interested in joining us and being a part of the team as a sponsor, email our sales team, EJ Taylor, who's right over here to my right. You get in touch with him or Sharnita Renfro. There's their email addresses down below. They'd love to hear from you. They'd love to make you part of the All Clemson Tigers team as we continue to do a lot of live shows. In fact, we've got live shows every home game here at Magnetic South Brewery in Anderson. We're also got the Monday live show that Jason does each and every Monday where you, the viewer, can become part of the show. He answers all of your questions. And then, of course, Sunday Reset that I'll have this week. It's going to be a little bit different Sunday Reset because I don't have anything to reset from Saturday. So I'm going to have to extend this thing one more week before I can talk about football. That's not going to be the highlight there, but I will get you ready for the Duke game, the last-minute preparations to get you ready for that. So join us on the All Clemson channel this week, and if you want to be part of the team, let us know. Email those fine folks down below. All right, gentlemen, let's move on. We got other things to get to. It's not just about Clemson and Duke. There's other games. There's a game tonight in the ACC between Louisville and Georgia Tech. Miami hosts Miami. Yeah, that sounds weird to say as the Red Hawks go to the Hurricanes. So I want to start with you guys. Anything, Jason, that you saw last night? We saw NC State, a little bit of Wake Forest. Anything stand out to you about those two teams?
I expected North Carolina State to play a little bit better offensively than they did. Although I will admit, I mostly watched Florida and Utah, so I kind of only watched a little bit of that one. But I didn't expect that game to be quite as close as it was once it got late in the fourth quarter. I knew UConn would play them tough being at home, but I expected North Carolina State to kind of pull away a little bit more. So not quite what I was expecting from the Wolfpack.
I totally agree. I was disappointed in Armstrong and Anai and all this talk about this offense taking a big step forward. I didn't see it last night from the Wolfpack. They looked a little lethargic on offense and it's UConn. You should pound that team. You should have put up 40 last night. 35 on a bad day. You should have put up 35. That game could have been a lot closer to if UConn had scored late in the game and put some pressure on them. They ended up turning the ball over and NC State ran the clock out. But I didn't get much of that. Wake Forest offensive line didn't play well last night, it sounds like, in their game against Elon. They got a lot of work to do post-Sam Hartman era. While we're on the ACC, though, gentlemen, I want to ask you, what's the one game you feel like you've got to watch this weekend? Not concerning Clemson and Duke. Who you got? Zach?
Let's see. Who does Stanford play?
Oh, my gosh. They're not in the league until next year. You can't take them. Cal, SMU, Stanford off the board. You got to pick somebody else.
I think, honestly, I am interested in seeing UNC. I mean, I know that we are going to talk South Carolina and North Carolina in a few minutes, but that game intrigues me for a number of reasons. I want to say this: screw you, Spectrum. I was getting ready to watch, the Utah game. In fact, Jason and I were on the radio show, and the Wake Forest game just went, dark on me. I thought there was something wrong with me. It turns out Spectrum, of all weekends, decides to get into a measuring contest with ESPN. And so, I can't thank them enough for my hatred of them. So that is my soapbox.
I want to see Miami and Miami tonight. I'm a little intrigued by this. The Red Hawks are talking a bunch of smack. You talking smack to the Hurricanes. I want to see you go down there and back it up. I'm not sure they can or not, but, man, that intrigues me. If Van Dyke is healthy, which I think he is right now, though he banged his thumb on a helmet earlier in the week, or last week. I really want to see this Miami team. I think they're revamped. I like Cristobal. I think he's going to do really good things there. But it was a total mess last year. Do they look like a real team and a real unit against a team that feels like they're going to come down there and beat them? Big test for the Hurricanes coming up later tonight.
That's on ACC Network, so how can
I have no idea. You're out of luck. Jason, let me ask you this real quick. Virginia and Tennessee. We heard the AD at Tennessee, Danny White, talk a little smack, running his mouth, saying Tony Elliott was never really a true candidate. I never offered the job to him. I only offered it to Josh Heupel. I understand what he's trying to do there. But do you think that carries over into this game at all? And are you a little concerned because Virginia's not good this year? They're just not. Do you think that maybe Tennessee runs it up on them a little bit?
Absolutely. I am fully expecting Tennessee to run it up on them a little bit. No idea why Danny White really wanted to make those comments. I went back and listened to what Tony Elliott said. He never indicated that he was offered the job or anything. I didn't hear anything out of the way. I thought those comments from Tennessee's AD were a little odd, but yeah. I think they're going to run it up. I think it's going to get ugly.
27.5 points. I think it goes towards Tennessee on that one. They probably win by 35 or 40. All right, let's move on to some national conversation, some other games. One game you want to see this week. Look, you've already mentioned North Carolina, South Carolina. Jason, I want to get your thoughts on that one. A chance to see two teams that are on Clemson's schedule. That's Saturday night at 7:30. We'll get a good opportunity to watch those two. What's your take? What are you looking for when you watch that game?
I want to see North Carolina's defense and how they stack up against Spencer Rattler and some of those guys on that South Carolina offense. That's where my biggest questions for North Carolina lie are on the defense side of the ball. And I'm anxious to see South Carolina's defensive line, how much pressure they can put on Drake May. Can they affect, what he's doing and put pressure on him and affect his timing or with the North Carolina receivers in that offense.
Zach, South Carolina, North Carolina. Let's go ahead and do a picks with you. Who you got in that game?
As much as the Clemson fans are not going to like it, I think, South Carolina goes to Charlotte and takes down the Tar Heels.
Oh, my. You're picking South Carolina. Jason, who are you picking in that game?
I hate to do it, South Carolina.
Oh, man. I'm the only one. North Carolina, South Carolina can't stop the run. The Tar Heels with Chip Lindsey want to become more of a running team, even though they got that great arm in Drake May. They're going to run the ball, control the game, and try to find a way to get out there with a victory. I got North Carolina winning this one.
All right. So,
that's one where I hope I'm wrong.
Hey, yeah, it's one of those games where can they both lose?
Okay,
Exactly.
fair enough. All right, let's move on to LSU and Florida State real quick. This might be the game of the week on Sunday night, an opportunity to sit back and watch the Seminoles who come to Death Valley on September 23rd later this month. I'll start with you, Jason. Florida State, we've talked about all the hype and everything, but how important is week one that they don't fall flat on their face against this LSU team?
I think it's extremely important. I think Florida State needs to come out and win this game. All the hype that they have received all offseason, a lot of people even think they are a playoff team. I think they need to come out and kind of make a statement against LSU this year. I thought they kind of should have won that game a little more handily than they did last year. And Brian Kelly's kind of giving them a little bit of bulletin board material, saying we're going to beat the heck out of Florida State. So it's going to be interesting. This game is very intriguing. Very intriguing.
Zach, who you got in this one?
I love LSU.
You're a smart man sometimes. Yeah. You're a smart man on this one. I agree with you. I'm on LSU as well.
Yeah, I think there is a reason that Vegas has them as the favorite in Orlando. So, I think LSU wins this game. FSU starts the season if they lost and their hopes of playoff and all that trash will hinge on September 29th.
I am taking LSU in this one as well. This is a coaching thing. I'm just picking Brian Kelly over Mike Norvell. It's really that simple. I think he'll prepare them better. I think he'll make better in-game adjustments, and I think he'll handle late-game situations better than Mike Norvell. I think these two teams are very even. The spread dictates that. It's, 2.5? I think it's going to be a really tough game. It's a coin flip in a lot of ways. I'm going to go with the better coach in this situation. I'll take LSU. All right.
Here's the question. Is FSU going to use COVID to get out of this game?
No. All right, let's play our favorite game on the live show, the All Clemson Tigers live show. Are we smarter than Zach? And this is an opportunity for Jason and I to show that we are superior to Zach Lentz over here. Yeah, I hear you. All right, let's start with the Clemson Tigers in terms of the spread. 12.5-point favorite over the Duke Blue Devils. Jason, do we think that the Tigers cover the 12.5 on Monday night?
Yes.
I say no. What are you on? Because Jason and I are split.
I think Clemson covers. I think this team comes out and makes a statement, and I say they win at least 17.
Wow. See, I'm on the other side here. I think Duke keeps this close enough. Clemson never feels like they're going to lose, but I think Duke just kind of hangs around, makes it uncomfortable for a little bit, and then Clemson pulls the wins by 10. That's what I've got. Tigers by 10, something like 23 or 24-13. How about 11? I'll settle on that one.
It's okay for you.
We are thinking very similarly because I think it's going to be kind of the same thing. It's competitive. Clemson scores late, kind of pulls ahead. I just think they win by 2 touchdowns instead of 10.
All right. Before we get to the rest of these, I want to remind you that you can get in with your thoughts and comments. If you're here at Magnetic South in Anderson, come over and speak to us. If you got any questions or comments concerning the Clemson-Duke game, you can get those in right now before we get out of here tonight. Plus, we got some swag if you want to get some swag. We can tell you about that right before we wrap up as well. All right, Jason, over under 55.5 points. What are you predicting? What should we do on that one?
Under.
Over. Yeah, okay, we're on the same page there. Under, Zach. He's taking the over. What do you think it's going to be like? This is going to be like 43 to 27. What are you predicting with this game?
I think you're looking at something like 38-20.
Man, Clemson going to score 38 points in this one? Man. All right. How about this one, Jason? What do we think? Over under Cade Klubnik, 265 passing yards.
I'm going under.
I'm going under as well. All
Yay.
right, Zach's in agreement
Y'all
on
are finally have like a little, smart.
All right, fair enough. Will Shipley, over under 79.5 points. I'm sorry, 7.5 yards. Hey, if he scores 79.5 points, Clemson's going to blow him out. 79.5 rushing yards, Jason. What do you got?
Over.
Over? I'll take the over as well. I'm on Will Shipley over with you. Zach? All right, good deal. Good deal. We're all in agreement. Little unity on that one. All right, does a freshman score a touchdown?
Ooh, this is a good one. No.
No? All right, I'll agree with you. Oh, Zach says yes. Who is it?
I say TJ Parker.
He's going to pick up a fumble and run. Oh, well, scoop and score from the freshman in this game. Okay.
Maybe Tyler Brown.
Yeah.
Maybe Tyler Brown. All right. Leading receiver for the Clemson Tigers will be a starter. Yes or no, Jason?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Zach. Okay. All right. Good deal. Yeah, I think I tend to agree with that one. Over under Clemson sacks from the defensive unit. 3.5. What do we think, Jason?
Under.
See, I like the over in that one. We're split. What do you guys, Zach?
Yeah, I like the over. I think the line is too talented. And I think Char and Carr have a feel there.
Oh, man. All right, final one. Riley Leonard, Duke quarterback, over under 1.5 total touchdowns in this game. Jason, what are we on here? I'll go with over.
Over.
All right, over it is. Zach? He can't make up his mind. He has no idea. We're going to be here all night. I don't know what that means. Things are about to get weird, apparently.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
I go over.
All right, fair enough. All right, want to thank everybody who's been a part of this. Look, we got some great comments on here. Let's get to some of these. How about this one? TigerTail223 says North Carolina by 3 over South Carolina. See, we're on the same page. That's why I put you up there. You know what you're talking about. Very smart person. Very smart. And you say LSU by 10. God, it's like you're living in my head right now. And then, of course, we've got Larry getting in, who says Zach is a hoot. He knows football and loves Stanford. That's hilarious. Stanford Zach. That's what we're going to start calling him now.
That's right. Give me those trees.
Oh, my goodness. Stanford Zach. Love that. TigerTail223 also says with Riley, I think the offense will be more dangerous as it will be more like a Swiss Army knife. This, in turn, is going to take a lot more pressure off of the defense. Jason, do you see it that way? How multiple are we talking with this offense? How many guys get involved on Monday night? Over under on people who touch the football. I'll tell you what, I'll set it at 6.5.
Let's go over.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a versatile offense. I think there's a lot of different ways Riley can use to attack defenses. I think there are a lot of different – I think there are some playmakers on this offense, and we're going to – that have failed to live up to their capabilities so far, and I think we're going to start seeing some of that this year.
Yeah. I threw this up there. XT needs a mention. I think Xavier Thomas is just – this guy's been through it. He came back to Clemson for a reason. The injuries, the illnesses, the depression, he's been through it all. I think he is just ready. I mean, I can't wait to see him at the field. I think XT makes a huge impact in this game. How about this? XT gets a sack and a forced fumble on Monday night. You buying that one?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he has, he transformed his makeup.
Yep.
He looks like a different guy.
Absolutely. That'll be a big one. That's what we're going to keep an eye on. All right, I want to remind you that we're going to have live coverage on Monday. I will be on here on the YouTube channel at All Clemson on Sunday with the Sunday Reset. And then Monday night we'll have the game. No Monday live this week, right, Jason? You'll be live in Durham. Kind of hard to be live on YouTube as well.
Correct. And me and Zach will be back Tuesday night with the radio show.
All right, sounds good. Radio show on Tuesday night. And then next week we'll be back with another live show right here at Magnetic South in Anderson. If you're here at Magnetic South, come up, talk to us, and get some free stuff. We got some free stuff to give away. If you'd like to come over and hang out with us for a few minutes, we'd love that. Jason, who are you covering tonight?
South Florence, defending state champs, Orangeburg Wilkinson, fixing to head over to Bruin Stadium as soon as we wrap up here.
All right, well, we're going to let you run then because I know you've got to get over to some other things. So appreciate you tonight, Jason. Good stuff, my friend, and look forward to seeing you very soon in person.
I will see you guys later, and y'all don't have too much fun out there, man.
Well, I'll see if I can keep Zach under control. Zach, thank you. As always, good job running the board, keeping everything going for us here on the All Clemson Tigers live preview show for Clemson and Duke. Don't forget, allclemsontigers.com will have it for you on Monday night, breaking down the game. And thank you so much to Magnetic South Brewery here in Anderson for hosting us tonight. Really appreciate them, and thank you all for tuning in throughout the show. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy Labor Day. I'm Brad Singham. He's Zach Lynch for Jason Priester and EJ Taylor. We'll see you next week.